আপনারা দেখছেন ILFL Soccer Night.
We're back. It's the last section of the ILFL Soccer Night show. We're going to continue our discussion on the Vets League just very quickly and take a look at the games coming up this Thursday in the First Division. Stepney are back and they're playing Redbridge. Good luck, Redbridge. Bondu Vets take on Tower Hamlets Vets and Mostyn take on Weavers. Nick, I'm just going to ask you, out of those teams, you play 3-4 games now. Out of the teams you've played so far, who have you been most impressed with?
Well, clearly, I think Weavers last week showed how when you support each other, when players have got options, when you've got good movement, they really began to dominate the game with us. Having said that, I have to say that all of the teams that we've played have been good units. I think we felt that we could have beat Tower Hamlets. I think we took our foot off the gas a little bit in the second half. But certainly I think that Mostyn and Bondu, when we played them, I think, you know, we had to work really, really hard to get the draws from them. And I'm not sure that there's a huge amount of difference between those sides. And I think that on the day, anybody can beat anybody else. I
think that's something that we were touching on right at the beginning of the show. And in that First Division, like I said, let's put Stepney aside and maybe even Bondu, but everybody else, it's right there. So when we look at the fixtures, Mostyn v Weavers for a start, you know, hard to call. I mean, I thought Mostyn were very unlucky last week to go 4-1 flattered their opponents.
Yeah, I mean, they're quite unlucky. You know, if you look at it, Weavers are one of those teams that they don't have that physical strength with them, but they can play really good footballing, and it works for them. You know, if you look at Bondu's, they probably are not as skillful as Weavers. They don't move the ball around as nicely as they do, but they've got this physical prowess, you know, and it works for them. And things that I like about those teams is that they play to their strengths, whereas some of the other teams, and I have to admit, my own team, you know, I know we don't have many strengths, it's mainly weaknesses, but we're not using our strengths, you know. Strengths are like, we're quite passion, you know, and passion sometimes drives you forward, but it's just not working, you know. I think the issue with some of the lower teams I have to talk about, you know, including Redbridge, is that it's just a bad cocktail of things, you know, such as players not turning up, not enough quality, a lot of other things, fatigue as well, you know, injury. You know, a lot of players are like injury prone, and when you have all of those things in one night and you get those results like 9-0, and that's what you get. So teams, I mean, my advice is to watch out for them. You know, you might have weaknesses, but if you have more than 1 or 2 weaknesses, then you will get those types of results, which you really want to avoid.
Looking forward to the game against Stepney then?
Looking forward to the game against Stepney. It's definitely lessons learned for Redbridge, you know, and hopefully, you know, things will be different this week.
In the Premier Division, the fixtures look like this. We've got Beaumont taking on St Catherine's, Sire Vets, London Tigers, Aberhani against Bromley, Hasna. What are we looking at there? Beaumont, St Catherine's. St Catherine's again, like I said, they're hurting. They're not getting the results. Beaumont are sitting at the top. Can't be complacent because it's hard work that's got them there. An upset perhaps?
There's always a potential for it because we saw St Catherine's just down the highlights. They might have only just lost 1-0, but that second half was all about St Catherine's. Really and truly, when you're in the Premier Division, you learn from this. So St Catherine's have got to take what they did at the back end of that game and carry it forward with Beaumont, who Beaumont are playing for fun. They're playing for fun right now, not conceded a single goal, banging in goals like no man's business. I mean, it's working out perfect for them. So that's what they need to be aware of. And I mean, on the other games, London Tigers, I think there's going to be a huge backlash there because they did not want to lose against Tower Hamlets. No. So Sire have got it in for them. And I think Aberhani Bromley, which I'm hoping is a game we're going to have on show next week. Yeah, 2 defensive teams. Personally, I probably won't have the time to watch that game, but I hope these guys score more goals than they usually do.
It's a game that probably Tower Hamlets, they've got no game. They've got no fixtures Thursday. And after, on the back of winning against Tigers, they would have probably wanted to keep that momentum going as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really poor timing, but they've only got themselves to blame. I mean, first two games, really and truly, they shouldn't have lost. There was arguments between the players, and eventually they pulled it together for London Tigers. I mean, last season we saw both games against London Tigers. They drew tactical gameplay. This time round, you know, they've gone out and won it. So it's just stall them. Let's just hope it doesn't stall them, and when they return in a couple of weeks, they don't falter again.
Okay. That's Thursday, taken care of, your Thursday night, and then we'll go straight into the weekend on Sunday. And here are your Sunday fixtures that are taking place in the Premier Division this Sunday. Bromley take on Beaumont, Leytonstone take on Ireland, West End take on Sire, and then the second instalment of the London Tigers show, it may as well be over this mini fortnight of fixtures. They now go to Stepney, a tough game against West End, huge morale boosting victory against West End. They now go to Stepney. Nanu, what's going to happen?
It's really hard to tell. I'm a fan of both of these teams. You know, they're really strong, they're well organised, they have methods that they use and it works for them really well. And if they can apply it on the day, and it will do wonders for them, it really depends on which team actually gets it right on the day. It's really hard to tell. Tigers, they're sitting really comfortable. Stepney are pushing right there with the pressure, and Stepney have actually improved from the previous season. So it'll be interesting to see what the game looks like. You know, I have to say, usually I would come up with a winner in a prediction, but this time round it is really tough to say which one's going to come out on top.
All of the permutations are there, really. Stepney, this is all you've got to play for. It's a big game. Tigers know that if they win it, they could be champions again. First Division fixtures coming up. St Catherine's take on Reacher. The local derby between Bow and Bromley Juniors, an improving Bromley Juniors, and the pick and mix of Bow going up against each other there. SCTA take on Weavers, and Stepney B taking on Burdett. And then we move to the Second Division, and the Second Division games look like this. Al Mizan taking on the Beaumont Youth. And the way things are looking there, Beaumont should be on for 3 points. Robin Hood Tigers against the reserve side of West End. Tricky tie for Robin Hood. Tower Hamlets B taking on Redcoat, and the St Catherine's under 21 side going on to Riverside. Anything you want to say about the Second Division, Nanu?
Yeah, there's lots to tell, you know, in the Second Division. First of all, if I start at the bottom, St Catherine's under 21 versus Riverside, that should be an interesting one because both of the teams have been really struggling.
I was going to say, it is a bit of a big game in the Second Division, really, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, both teams are actually improving, but Riverside are probably slightly improved a little bit more than St Catherine's under 21 because they were slightly late in applying some of the changes. But who knows? I mean, you saw St Catherine's play the other day, and they've improved a lot. But is it enough?
Well, this is the game to find out.
This is the game to find out.
This
Absolutely,
really
yeah.
is it. I mean, I don't want to say one thing or another, but if you're not going to get any points out of this one, you may not get any points.
But this is it. But I mean, there's been some issues with the team. Obviously, there's been some sort of cards, you know, some red cards in the previous game. So some of the key players for St Catherine under 21 may not be present. But this is a chance for some of the others to come out and fight for their place. And all I can say is that those who will be replacing those two places give it all they can, because it could be the chances to prove that they can take on any other team.
Dave, can I share a quick stat?
Go for it.
There's a record that could be broken there by St Catherine's under 21 if they're not careful. There's a team that's lost, only had 1 point on the board and conceded 105 goals. St Catherine's under 21 aren't too far from that, so very careful.
That is very true. I mean, I won't put the tables up to share everyone, even though I'm looking at it myself, but yes, indeed. And that's why I say St Catherine's under 21. It's your show. Up there you go. Somebody behind the glass screen just did it to you. So I take no responsibility for that, and that's all to do with the engineers in the back. Listen, we're coming to the back end of the show, and I'm going to leave the final word with you guys. Like I said, you've been together as a club, as a community club. Tell us a little bit outside of football, where you're going with yourselves now over the next few years. What's the aim now for Riverside?
Riverside, I think we'll look to build on the Veterans League. I think if we do well in the Summer League, we've got some young players in the team as well. So Summer League is the next step for us in terms of the veteran side. got some young players in our team on a Saturday who play with us, and we'll see how that develops. I think we would want to expand into other areas. I think join the community of football teams that are in Tower Hamlets and wider, really. That's the objective for Riverside.
Excellent. Listen, it's been really, really good having you on the show. How long have you been down in London, Nick?
Only a few years. I've been working in London for many years, but only took up residence 2012. So absolutely delighted to join a club like Riverside. And I think that, you know, Mamon's talking there about getting the club playing more regular. We have got some terrific young guys coming along as well on a Saturday, and to expand the club in that way. But I also think whilst we do that, I think it's important that we keep the ethos of the club together as it's been, which is really about bringing people together from different walks of life who are different ages but who have a passion for football. We're enjoying that, and I think it's important that as a club we maintain that.
And that's a great note to end the show on. My thanks to Nick and Mimi for coming in this evening. Hassan and Nanu, thank you. Thanks to the boys behind the glass for putting the show together for us tonight. That is it. It's all over on the ILFL Soccer Night show. Until next week, have a good week. Good luck with your football this Thursday and on Saturday, Sunday even. And we'll be back next Monday to talk about it all here on the ILFL Soccer Night show. Until then, good night.